Hey there everybody, welcome back for week 2 of this little series that I'm doing. This week I want to talk a little bit about some introspection and awareness concerning communication, and I'm really excited about this, so let's jump into it and get started. So this past week we had Thanksgiving, and I hope that everybody had a really great time celebrating however that looks for you and for your family or for your friends. I really took some time and realized how blessed I am both geographically and relationally during this past week. It's just so amazing to me how God has done so much for me in my life. I bring this up partly because it's of course true, but also because the holiday season of Thanksgiving and Christmas really gives an excellent time to practice and to put into practice what I'm looking at doing and what I'm trying to grow in, and that's communicating with others. We have so many parties, we have so many get-togethers, maybe not so much now in the time of COVID and the pandemic and everything, but still we have so many more opportunities to connect with people than we might recognize in other times. There's get-togethers with people we don't always see or with people we see every single day. So plenty of opportunities, plenty of chances to practice communicating, to evaluate how we communicate, and to see where we might need to work on and what we need to do better, which is what I've tried to do in this past week. So over the past week, like I said, I didn't try to implement any new strategies, implement any new tips or tricks or anything like that. I just wanted to see how I communicated, the things that I did well, the things that I didn't do well, and to kind of have a little bit of self-awareness around the topic of communication and the idea of connecting with people. And I don't think I did too hot. So the first chapter of Everyone Communicates, Few Connect, John Maxwell talks about taking stock of his communication skills. He goes through and tells of how whenever he was on this journey to be able to connect with people better, he had to step back and really take stock of how he communicated. So what I was wanting to do this past week was evaluate what I am doing right, what I'm doing wrong, what's hindering my ability to connect with people. And he defines connecting as the ability to identify with people and relate to them in a way that increases your influence with them. And he notes that this starts with your attitude and with the ability to recognize the value of other people. He gives a couple other reasons and a couple more points as to why communicating is important, but these are the two that really hit home with me. Valuing people is something that I have to work on, not in the sense of like valuing human life and everything, but necessarily valuing their opinions and valuing wanting to know what they're about, pretty much. So I am naturally and learnedly an introvert. I grew up that way. That's the way I'm wired, and I own it and I accept it, but I still want to grow and connect with people. I remember a time when I was probably 7 or 8 years old that my family took a weekend trip. And on this trip, we went out of town, stayed in a hotel, and that hotel had a pool. And me and my brothers, being young boys, of course, the first thing we want to do is go straight to the pool. So I remember riding down the elevator to this pool, and we were sharing the elevator with this other lady who was staying in the hotel. And in the 45-second ride down the elevator, this lady started going into her backstory, into how her and her husband met, to why they were in this hotel, why they were on this trip. She laid out pretty much her entire life story to us strangers in this elevator. And I remember standing there as a 7 or 8 year old boy looking at this lady and thinking, why in the world do you want to share all of that information with complete strangers? Like, not even, we've seen each other in the hotel a couple times, like directly she stepped on the elevator and started sharing all of this stuff for me. It just bewildered me that she would want to share all this. I could not fathom it. So first off, I'm way more private than that. And secondly, I remember immediately after this thought of wonder, I remember thinking, lady, I don't really care about why you married your husband. I just want to go to the pool. I don't necessarily want to know everything about you. And it was a very interesting thought that came through my mind, and I think it's pervaded a little bit through today. Maybe not on the level of a 7 or 8 year old, but it was just a very interesting thought. And as an introvert, communicating and connecting with new individuals takes a good deal of energy for me. I will admit that I have used that in the past as an excuse as to why I don't connect with people, or as an excuse, just, oh, well, I'm an introvert, so I don't do good with people. And it's a poor excuse. So I've been sitting at a dinner before where I have been trying to do the same thing that Dale Carnegie once told the story of doing, and not talking at all about myself at that dinner, but asking questions of the other people that are around me and the people that are next to me, and understanding and trying to just hear their story and not interject any of me into their story. And that's kind of difficult. But after about 5 or 10 minutes, I find myself becoming not all that interested and not wanting to put in the work to come up with the questions to keep the conversation going and to dig deeper into them. It takes work. And this is the attitude that Maxwell is talking about, that we have to develop, and we have to get better at valuing people. Once we hit that point of not being interested anymore, we have to dig a little bit deeper and understand that, yes, there is more to this story and there is more to them, and just to kind of easily and slowly find those extra questions and find those extra points of conversation that will get us a little bit farther. And not out of any sense of manipulation or trying to find out their dirty secrets, but just understanding who they are as people. And I feel that that is very important. So human connection is essential for everyone. And for me, most of the time, my connection has been a much deeper connection with a lot fewer people. And I'm trying to expand that out and connect with more people on a deeper basis than I have in the past. So at Thanksgiving dinner this past week, I noticed some of these things in pretty full effect. I was able to have a good time. I had an excellent time there. But I left feeling like I hadn't connected like I really wanted to. And there were multiple factors and things for that, but it just struck me that I left feeling kind of underwhelmed and like I hadn't really done what I had gone there to do and to connect and have a meaningful interaction with the people that were there. As I drove home, I kind of pondered on it a little bit more, but really the only thing that I was able to find and take away from it is that I missed another chance, another opportunity to connect with people one-on-one. Gerald R. Ford, one of our past presidents, once said that nothing in life is more important than the ability to communicate effectively. And connecting is what we are here on this planet to do. Like I said earlier, every human needs human connection. So in the book, John Maxwell uses this amazing analogy, and I really, really do love a good analogy. He says that people that are unable to communicate effectively are like nuclear power plants that aren't connected to the power grid. That we have this incredible potential, these incredible resources, this incredible power to impact the people around us, but if we can't communicate with those people that are around us, then we're useless. We can't take that power and translate it to those other people because we can't communicate with them. There's that barrier there, that disconnect that just hinders us. So my takeaway for this next week is to really work on that attitude towards other people and to continue this thread of self-awareness where I realize when I hit that point of not wanting to go any deeper with people and to evaluate what the circumstances are around it. One of the things with connecting that we'll talk about later is really marshaling your energy towards this connection with other people. So if I can realize why I've hit that barrier when I hit it, maybe I can come up with ways to overcome it and to push through it in the future. And I just really want to truly value the views and experiences of other people for no other reason than they are the views, the experiences, and the perspectives of other people without validating or invalidating those views. So if you want to follow along more with this process as we go week to week, then subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you, and hope that everybody that's joining along is learning as much as I am during this process. And thanks for growing with me this week, and we'll see you next week.